Greg's here. We got Greg. Here we go.
Does anybody? I just out of curiosity, I just was curious because I know there's got to be a few people who are sort of interested in getting into comedy. Has anybody after the episode checked in on any of Greg Dean's stuff? Looked into him at all? And what have you been able to find? If so, we can press play. We'll wait.
Nobody has found any Dean stand up. That's been the big thing I've been hearing a lot. Like, oh, we're looking for Greg Dean stand up, and I'm like, I'd love to see Greg Dean stand up. Here we go.
Yeah, hang on a second. Wait, that's a really good point. Why is there not a single video of him performing comedy?
I'm sure he's good.
Well, they're expressing one-liner.
Yeah, Chris, you missed a little bit, so I went back a little bit. I thought you might care to hear that some stuff he came up with. So we're gonna go back for the people that weren't there on Friday when I did a stream.
And I'm sorry for not coming and saying I was going to be here and coming.
It was pretty funny.
The dog had a huge diarrhea situation, and it honestly, with the newborn and the dog, sometimes it gets really, really hairy around here, and then I just can't do anything. Bedpan Surprise subscribing with Prime 2 months.
That's right. Here we go.
Never identified, and they didn't have names.
Here we go.
Jokes.
Okay, here we go.
I had to do the invention of joke structure. First of all, I had to answer a question: what is a joke? And then
wait. Hang on. Sorry, what?
We'll go back a touch. Yeah,
he invented joke
you don't.
structure?
There's some faces you don't want up there. He's got Louis C.K. up there. 5 months ago, this video.
A lot of jokes and a lot of performers. Maybe thousands. Yeah, I'd say thousands. From there, I had to do the invention of joke structure.
So, okay, this is really interesting to me. Foxhound 2424. Thank you so much for subscribing. He invented joke structure.
That's who did it.
God, so
that's the man.
Yeah, we have to thank him for a lot.
Answer a question: what is a joke? And then I had to kind of find a way to communicate it to people. I could kind of understand it, but then there were mechanisms in it that no one had ever identified, and they didn't have names. I coined the phrase joke structure to explain the mechanisms.
No, hang on.
He coined that phrase. Greg is good,
but it's an intuitive. It's not like a phrase that's. It's using two words, and it's not really a phrase. That's not really something you can take credit for. I think, like, when you're discussing the structure of a joke, I think most people are gonna use.
Nobody said that before 1982. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nobody
connected the setup and the punch, or the first part of the joke and the second part of the joke. That's what joke structure is in my world. It's the mechanisms between the setup and the punch, not setup and punch. They're just the way we go.
That graph fucking sucks, by the way, because it says it has a short line that says setup. Then you got the down line that says punch, and then a really long line after that.
That's for the laughs.
Oh. The lines don't make sense at all.
The laughs. Are you kidding?
Look, the punchline is this big line right here, right? The setup is this small line.
Yeah, the punchline.
And then who knows what this is?
But the punchline is usually shorter.
It's usually sometimes 3 times longer than the setup.
Yeah, no, that's not. The setup is always longer than the punchline.
Just looking at this graph.
It's the mechanisms between the setup and the punch, not setup and punch. They're just the way we go about expressing one-liners.
That earring is so cool.
That's no different than saying cartoon or sitcom, sketch. They're all just ways of expressing humor. These are the definitions of these 3 mechanisms. You really have to understand this. At the center of all jokes, there's always one thing with 2 meanings.
Okay, Chris, did you know that?
What?
At the center of all jokes, there's always one thing with 2 meanings.
That can't be true.
It's true.
In a certain type of joke.
In a Greg joke. Greg Dean invented joke structure, and
I don't think that could be true.
Oh, well,
at the center of all jokes on this planet that have ever been and ever will be.
Wait, there you go. There you go.
Hang on a second.
He said it. There you go.
He doesn't know about other jokes.
That's his jokes.
He's not even aware of the other types of jokes, and he's the one who's like teaching.
I do need to point out, and they said it in the chat. I'm going up a second. All jokes on this planet that have ever been or ever will be is what he said. Said, shit, tiniest little dot. I like that. He did say all jokes that have ever been
or will ever be. I mean, yeah.
They haven't invented a new kind of joke yet. It's the problem.
It's okay, BG Scotia.
Thing with
Tom's great. We love Tom.
Please do not believe me. Be a skeptic, because if you're a skeptic, you'll do some research into this and find out that I'm right. Here's the first thing: is one.
That was a crazy edit.
What was that? That was Burger-esque. That was Vic Burger-esque.
Thing with two meanings. The setup actually gives you the expected meaning. One thing with two meanings, and that's how you misdirect an audience. They accept.
But this is only for a misdirection joke.
That's all the jokes.
Every joke is not misdirection.
In the punch,
all of them that ever have been or ever will be.
Can you go back? And like, can we see that weird cut again?
Yeah. Yeah.
To this and find out that I'm right. Here's the first thing: is one thing.
He goes like this.
Means or interpretations. Please do not believe me. Be a skeptic, because if you're a skeptic, you'll do some research into this and find out that I'm right. Here's the first thing:
I'm right about. He cuts himself off. He means I'm right about it.
Yeah.
I think
methinks is what he says.
He does. He does kind of like. He's definitely similar to Noland, right?
A little bit, but
the music in the background is very similar. He doesn't have the slow zoom, but he like sort of talks like not the same voice, but the same sort of cadence in a way.
He's got some Trump in him too.
People agree though. People agree. Cadence is the same. Yeah, music and cadence is Noland. Yeah, he is kind of the comedy Noland a little bit.
With two meanings or interpretations. Please do not believe me. Be a skeptic, because if you're a skeptic, you'll do some research into this and find out that I'm right. Here's the first thing: is one thing with two meanings. The setup actually gives you the expected meaning. One thing with two meanings, and that's how you misdirect an audience. They accept the expected meaning. In the punch, there is a mechanism there, which is the unexpected meaning.
I thought that
surprise. A lot of people talk about that. Comedy teachers talk about that, like that's some new information that came from Socrates and Aristotle. Keep these in mind.
No, it actually didn't. It came from Dean Aristotle.
Came from Greg Dean, you dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah, the inventor of joke structure.
Yeah.
In 1981, what the fuck were they calling it?
Who knows? Joke. They didn't know what a joke was. They just heard a joke and they're like, "What the fuck was that? That was
funny." They said like a little funny turn. I think they used to call him a little funny turn.
They just laughed and they didn't know why. Why am I laughing?
You're going to start to see how this relates to so many things. When you learn joke structure, first of all, you learn how to identify jokes. Identifying jokes is very important. Where the hell is the joke? People bring me stuff all the time in private, especially, and they'll have notebooks, and I'll say, well, let's work on one. They'll take out a full page, and I'll say, well, it's only got one joke because there's only one time do you have one thing with two meanings in there, and then I'll help them.
Okay, so hang on. So hang on. This is so good. This is so good. Somebody brings him a page filled with jokes, and he only recognizes the misdirection ones, and he's like, well, these are jokes because he don't have things that are two meanings on them, so we gotta throw all those out. And it's like, those could be the funniest shit ever, but he doesn't even notice that they're jokes because he only knows misdirection puns.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yet they wrote because they didn't know where the joke was. They didn't know how to precisely write the joke, so they keep wandering around identifying where the joke is. Wow, that's paramount. That's wait place
I need to see his side profile too. I think he has long hair.
Oh yeah, he's got a ponytail.
I think he does.
He's
got the
Emma Willman. She did private with me and listened to this.
I know her.
Oh.
Like, I mean, I don't know her well. Like I've seen her do comedy and met her before. So okay, he said
she did private with him. That's how he said it. I'm not being gross.
Hang on a second. Yeah, this is great because I think it's worth scrutinizing some of this stuff to find out if anybody has actually taken a class from Greg Dean.
Well, here we go.
Wow, that's paramount. That's a big place to begin. So that's what you're going to learn. Here, we're going to actually do it right now. Emma Willman, she did private with me, and listen to this joke.
I've got ADHD. I was diagnosed in high school, and I was prescribed Adderall, which was a godsend because my grades were able to skyrocket because I could finally focus on trading my Adderall for the test answers. That's what happened.
So let's
I
identify
saw her
this.
actually at my someone I know, Steph Tola, very, very funny comedian from Canada. She was doing a Filthy show and she was on it at the Biltmore, which is actually, I believe, where we're doing our live show.
Yeah.
So same venue that we're doing our live show. That's where I saw her, and she was very, very funny. She didn't strike me as somebody who was like,
She went to see Greg.
yeah, she didn't like a lot of her jokes, I will say, were not just a thing that meant a different thing.
What's up, Piper?
There was a lot of different types of jokes in there, which leads me to believe she might have gone to a different class. I have to say, by the way, Bryan, you want to say
Mujahideen?
I can't pronounce that.
Mujahideen Patriot 10106.
20 tier 1 subs, gifted a total of
Worst possible night to
129.
do
You
it.
got to be top. You got to be top. Thank you. I can't read them all, but welcome everyone, and thank you so much. Bless you to our friend Patriot.
I might have to run out of here in a little bit. I sent you the link to this video in Twitter because I can't do it in StreamYard.
So I can't say it.
Skyrocket.
I can't say it. I think people thought before I was like doing a bit where I was like trying to pretend, because it was like a bad person or something, but I can't. I know how to say it in my head, but it's one of those ones where it gets in front of me and I know I'll mess it up.
I did because I could focus on trading my Adderall for the test answers. What was the one thing with two meanings? It's what she could focus on. We expected her to say I could focus on my study.
I did.
No, she traded drugs for the cheat sheets. Now.
No,
it kind of is, though. Two meanings. Okay, well, yeah, he's kind of broadened it a little bit.
You guys do not want
two different meanings, really.
The cracks just look so pathetic. They're not what I thought they were going to look like.
It works. That's a great joke. Crisp, clear, but it's also about her as well. Very important to do that. Next is Anthony Jeselnik, one of my students as well.
We know him.
So here we go. Anthony.
My brother's crazy. Even my neighbors hate him.
Yeah, he said Anthony. Get it, Anthony.
Can we hear that again, everyone? Did you hear how he said Anthony?
Well, very important to do that. Next is Anthony Jeselnik, one of my students as well. Okay, so here we go. Anthony.
My brother's crazy. Even my neighbors hate him. The other day I opened up the door. I caught him masturbating.
I mean, he does the
He looks me right in the eyes and goes, "Shut the door." I said, "Get inside."
Okay, so let's identify Anthony's joke.
Let's do that.
So this is kind of fun to do, identifying a joke, breaking it down. This is a really fun and cool thing to do. Anthony Jeselnik, this is one thing I will say. He might have taken Greg Dean's classes because basically all of his jokes are what he's referring to.
He cleaned up, though. He's all clean now, isn't he? Like weirdly lib clean now.
I wanted to go to, I was going to sign up for Greg Dean's stand-up class, but the only in-person one, he doesn't teach the one over Zoom. It's like his woman that does it. And he does the in-person one, but it's in California. And I obviously can't go to California. I have a child. I can't travel to Pasadena to take a fucking stand-up comedy class with Greg Dean so that, a couple hundred people on stream would laugh.
Yeah.
Or I said, get inside. What's the one thing with two meanings? Oh, you might be thinking it's the door. It's kind of it, but it's really where the brother was at.
Okay, well, masturbating is spelled MASTURBATING. Not MASTER.
He's so square, he doesn't even know how to spell masturbate.
Actually, it's where the brother was masturbating spelled wrong.
Bryan, you should go to Greg Dean's comedy class because you're always just like, I'm going to go to California. Do you know what I mean? You're always looking for a reason.
I'd love to go to California.
That's what I mean. You're always looking for a reason to go to California. So why don't you go and take the classes and film them? And, you can come back with some incredible stories.
Yeah, maybe. I'm yawning like crazy. Guys, I haven't eaten all day. It's terrible. I have some chicken broth downstairs.
Oh, that'll fill you up.
I mean, that's what I'm allowed to have.
I mean, come on. All the men in the chat, can we have a nice little manly chuckle at our little broth boy Bryan over here? You know we're only eating full fucking breasts and thighs over here, baby.
No pretzels, no solid food for another fucking less than 24 hours. I will say that. That's
for the men only as well. I don't want to see anybody, not a man, going hoo in the chat. I will check.
Supposed to have my nightly steak, right, short shot. I deserve my nightly steak or cheeseburger.
Door, that it was his bedroom, the bedroom door. Instead, it was probably the front door because he was outside where the neighbors could see him.
Yeah.
Understand why they hate it?
It's probably the front door. It wasn't the bedroom door. It might not have even been the back door or the garage door. It was probably the front door.
There's the structure of this joke. And Anthony was one of my students. He really got joke structure from it. He understands joke structure. That's why his jokes are so good. The next thing you'll learn is how to fix
the reason
jokes.
why
I'm
is
actually going to show you how to fix
the reason why you
jokes.
like him so much he's become so famous. Well, that's because he's got that little Dean touch.
He's got some DM.
When you learn structure from it's like learning the Gegenpress from Ralph Ranick himself, the originator. You know, it's incredible. That's a footy reference, by the way. Shout out to England. It's coming home. I believe it's coming home, everyone.
There we go.
How to edit one. Here's the joke. I just went through a long and messy separation, which ended in a divorce from my wife. So after all that, I went on a vacation to Denmark because I was going to have a sex change. The sex change was from not very often to nothing at all. Not my gender. A little overwritten. Let's fix this.
I didn't understand even like what the...
Well, the joke is that he's saying he was having a sex change. He wanted to go for a sex change. And then said, like, but the change is going to be I'm going to start having sex more.
Oh, okay.
After my divorce.
Not my gender.
Not my gender. But it's overwritten. You don't need the not my gender, or it needs to be. I think Greg's going to step in here and say the not my gender part needs to come first or not at all. So we'll see how Dean steps in and sort of makes this a little bit better.
Joke. So the first thing you need to do is identify the joke. What's the structure of this joke? What's the one thing with two meanings? Sex change.
Oh,
because we expected him to say a change in sex organs, and it would be a change in sexual frequency. Sex change. Oh, now you're starting to understand. This is amazing because I love teaching this to people. Man, is nothing more fun than that, watching people really start to understand jokes for the first time in their lives. And
some people in the chat saying they just got the joke now after it was picked by Greg. They weren't able to actually get it or laugh, but now they see why it's funny. I think I brought this up the last time we watched Greg on Guys Plus, but it is remarkable how unfunny he is. Like, he doesn't say a single funny thing during this. And it's like, he's not doing stand-up comedy here. It's not a comedy sketch, but you would just think it would be in there somewhere. There would be some indication that he could be funny if he had to be.
Maybe.
Jokes. I love what Patton Oswalt said. He said, in stand-up comedy, you strip out everything except what serves the joke.
Thank you, Patton.
Now, I just showed you what serves the joke. That's what serves the joke. The
Sex
least
organs.
amount for the setup to say that you got a sex change, and the least amount you need to say in the unexpected interpretation about it was a change in frequency. Now, let's start to take it apart. Do it sentence by sentence. I just went through a long and messy separation, which ended in a divorce from my wife.
I just got divorced.
Do I really need to know it was long and messy for the joke to work, and that it was a separation and stuff?
All right.
All that's there because it's a divorce, which ended in a divorce.
Oh, this goes on for a really long time.
It's so awesome because Bryan is like so tired and can barely stay up, and here he is, got Greg Dean just fucking droning on,
droning on and on about jokes.